Welcome to Season 4 of the Builders Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Levenhagen. This season, we're exploring the human behind the builders, the stories, experiences, and defining moments that shape the people who build great businesses. Builders helping builders. Enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another The Builders. I hope you're enjoying Season 4. We are a few episodes in, and we've had some great stories. I'm enjoying it, as I knew I would, because I love listening to people's stories and journeys and origin stories, whatever kind of story. I love it. I love hearing the type of lives people have had. I like to see for so many reasons, but I like to see the common threads we all have. For example, messy journeys. Many entrepreneurs have those. We kind of have an unconventional way of weaving our way through life, usually in a lot of cases. Maybe there's entrepreneurs out there that just know what they're going to do day one and figure it out, but I don't think that's the norm from my experience and talking to a lot of people, and including myself. But no, it's been great, and I'm looking forward to continuing the episodes for this season. Of course, we got a couple more already recorded and ready to go. So, but today is a solo episode. I am going to talk about. Well, that's the thing. I'm I guess I got to talk about my story. I mean, it's a season about stories, and of course, over the years, I've been doing this for 5.5 years. Every Monday, I have talked about my story many times. I would even in the early days of my agency would give you agency updates, what's going on with my agency, how we're doing. Probably should do one of those again someday soon. But I've talked about a lot of different things in my own life, even talking about the story of uncovering old journals and old bits and pieces of my life, what that journey was like. I've talked about, really the builder's journey in me, everything I've done in my life. And I enjoy sharing those things. I guess I like sharing them just like a guest likes sharing their story, because we hope that it'll inspire somebody or it'll have some kind of positive impact on the world. That's why we do that. It's a little, it's strange sometimes to tell our stories. Who's gonna, you can get in your head, who's gonna care about my story? I'm not a billionaire or anything. I'm not a tech mogul or anything that interesting, but we all have interesting stories though. And I actually I like the more grounded stories, just regular people. We've had very successful people on this podcast, obviously, but it doesn't matter. That's not where I start. I'm not trying to. I've run into podcasters they have some kind of strategy to get better and better and bigger and bigger people on their podcasts. That's a good strategy. I guess there's a reason you do that. But for me, it's just about the human. It's about, is this a good fit for this podcast? And I don't care if they have a smaller business or just getting started, or a multi-million-dollar operation. To me, it's all, there's so much we can learn from each other. And sometimes I feel like we learn more from people that are more our level, right? And I'm definitely hoping that I'm on the level of many of you listening to this audience or to this podcast. So my story. So today I thought, I was thinking about what I would talk about, what angle I'd give it. And I really kind of landed on what a 55-year-old man is doing, still building. I'm still here. I'm still building. Crazy. And, because I've had, a long history of building businesses, products, services, and executing on those things. I've done a lot in my life, and here I am, at 55 years old, when some people are thinking about retirement, some people are, you know, I, it's, I look at even my father. My father retired around this age. I'm like, I'm nowhere near retiring. Actually, that's kind of interesting because he actually worked for John Deere. If you ever heard of John Deere Horicon Works, he worked for John Deere for over 30 years, which is my dad I should have my dad on someday. He's 80 years old, but he's had a long life, but he's still kicking, and but he's had he worked for John Deere for over 30 years, which is a fascinating story. I mean, during that time, he started out on the floor doing punch press operator or whatever he was doing, punching things, and he worked his way up, became inspector, and then he went back to school, and then he eventually was like doing programming. Nerd. That's where I get it. Towards the end, he programmed these large measuring machines that measure things down to the millionth of an inch. He used to tell me all about it. He loved his job. If you sat down anywhere at any time with him in those days, he'd be talking about John Deere, and which is cool. But when he retired, he had already kind of started a business. Because he went back to school for business and stuff, and he actually had a computer repair business. I wasn't planning on talking about my dad today, but he had a computer repair business, and he did that for like 20 years, and kind of officially phased that out when he turned around 70. But I think about that, and it's like, that's my role model, right? My father was always had his hands in something. He was always tinkering, doing things, and always had the ambition to keep going and build stuff. And I kind of have been on that same journey in my life. And I've built a lot of things. I've had, if you've listened to the show, listened to me before, I mean, I was an artist when I was in my early 20s, and literally like a artist, not that any artist isn't an artist, but you call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. No, I was a fine artist. I was trying to be the next Picasso or Cezanne or something. I was trying to be an artist, and I painted on canvas, and I did hundreds of works in those days, and I had couple art shows that I ran myself, and I sold art via commission. That's how I started out. That was actually my first business, which is kind of interesting. I sometimes never really thought about it as a business because it's a craft, and I was just doing it and trying to sell stuff, but it was a business. I did have art. I found an old stash of all my books from back in those days, and there was art business, the business of art, like different books like that. So I was studying business back then, just trying to figure out how to sell art. But yeah, so I did that. Got into the insurance business, got into contracting, got into the internet business, and selling digital products and affiliate marketing, and then got into the web design development business, and here I am. But all that time, I kind of defined myself, I've kind of landed in this place where this is my business now. Like because now I've been running this agency for 8 years as a web design and development agency. And that's kind of where I landed, right? Like I've arrived. Like it did feel like everything that I'd done previous to this business led up to this. Like it all gelled, like all the knowledge I got from internet marketing even, and but just business in general, building businesses and products, and selling stuff online, and also the businesses before that, the services business that I had before that, all that stuff kind of built up and layered and allowed me to do what I'm doing today, but also like doing something I enjoy doing, right? It was creative enough. It was in tech. I love tech. I love programming and just running a business. Anyway, so I really felt like I landed, but I was kind of like in the last few years have been, with any business, like the first 5 years, rocket ship. And then we, flattened out in like 2024, we kind of flattened out for some reason, kind of, didn't go south, but we were, we, things happened, and things kind of leveled out. And then, last year, we tanked a little bit, and then we've been rebuilding. And this has actually been a really good year, maybe one of our better years when it's in the books. So that's great. So I've been very, very comfortable in what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. Even even when I've had conversations, even with my wife, I said, if this fails, I'm still doing this. That's where I've landed in my life, right? It's a weird thing because there's so many times I did like either a business didn't work out or I failed or just, things changed. That's what kind of happened with my internet business. The thing I was doing changed over a decade, and so it's not so much forced out, but I saw the writing on the wall and cashed out. But I always would pivot to something like when I went from affiliate marketer, pay-per-click advertiser, that's basically what I was, right? I did paid ads against affiliate marketing offers and stuff like that. But I also sold digital products and memberships. And I was that guy back then. And I had a lot of fun doing it. I really did. Kind of bummed out when I had to cash out. But I was doing all that stuff, and then I got into web design development. But the web design development thing from the internet market, that was a big pivot. It wasn't a pivot like a totally new pivot. That one was a little bit justified because I'd been building my own sites for years and writing my own sales pages and marketing. So I was in the digital world. But like pivots before that, like going from an artist bartender, I was kind of artist bartender. I made a living with bartending, and I struggled as an artist. I made some money with art, but not enough to live. Anyway, so, then I went back to school for business, and that led me to in the insurance business. Running my own agency eventually. And then somewhere in there, I decided to do contracting and start a painting and repair business, a home improvement business. So that's in there somewhere. So I would pivot like to completely different things. That's my point. And plus, jobs I had were like that too. When I was young, I was always like just reinventing myself constantly. But these days, like, this is my thing. Now it's changing, obviously. There's the AI piece. My role in what I do every day is changing. But see, it doesn't matter to me because it's still tech. So I'm not married to any particular way to build websites or anything like that. And plus, I'm just going with the flow. I have existing clients that are scaling and doing their thing, and we're doing more for them, and it's good. It's good. Knock on wood. So, but if something would happen, I'm not going anywhere. It's the same thing. Like I freelanced from like 2012 to like 2015, and then I worked for a corporation for like 3-4 years, and then I came out of that. And when I came out of that, I was a web developer. I built a team and everything. We built WordPress themes and a marketplace. And I came out of that. I wasn't doing, even at that point, I think I already had kind of, this was my identity. I wasn't like, what was I going to do next? It was going to be just going back to freelancing and building stuff, building websites or maintaining websites or designing websites or whatever, something in that realm. So, and it's the same now. Like, I don't even understand how that looks. Like if my agency would die, I'm not going anywhere. I feel like that's the bottom. It's just me. I would be just looking, I would be like on Upwork or something looking for work. Not that there's anything wrong with Upwork. We actually do a little bit of business there. But anyway, so, but that's the state of things. So I'm pretty stable, right? But what, so I wasn't really looking for anything. And then something happened, and I have talked about this a little bit on this podcast, but something happened last December, December 20th. I recorded the day where I picked up a pencil. And I actually had an art kit that somebody gave me for a gift back in 2018. 2018, I did a little bit of digital art, iPad, Procreate stuff. I was focused on like portraits. I did a little bit of abstract stuff or whatever. So I'd been dabbling, but somebody gave me this kit, but it sat there for like, well, you can do the math, from 2018 to December 2025. And I decided one day, just out of the blue, I just opened it up. And it's back there. You see it on camera. It's back there. Along with my latest drawing. It's a tree. But so I was, I just picked up the pencil and I started drawing. And then the next day I drew. And the day after that. And then I got in my head, you know what? Let's keep going. Now, over the years, I've had different sparks like that. I basically gave up trying to make a living at art like 30 years ago. Like it was like this consistent thing like that I was doing. And but over the years, at little sparks, like 2001, I had a period of time I tried to bring it back. and that would happen. And then just little drawings here, sketches there. There's like a trail of things throughout my life. But then I picked up the pencil and I started drawing. And this year, 2026, I have been drawing almost not every day, but it depends. Some days are, the business is crazy and don't quite get to it. But then I make up for it in the back, like on the weekend or something. But I try to, on average, sit down every day and do something. And actually, it's kind of interesting because I'm rediscovering it. I was always self-taught. I didn't formally go to school, but back in the day, that was harder than it is today. You have the internet now. You have YouTube, you have courses. You don't know how good you got it if you're an artist out there. Back then, I have like a library of books that I had to buy and read and study, which is fine. We figured it out. Like I got reference books on every material out there and techniques and then books that are specialized, like how to do figure drawing or whatever I was working on at the time. And, but even then, there were certain things I didn't master, and graphite wasn't one of those things that I always drew. I have thousands of drawings, but I never felt like I mastered it. And I didn't feel like, I don't know, I think I was good, but yeah, I never took a full course. And I've been doing that now. I've been really, really working on that and trying to get better and better and all year. And I'm very focused. So I'm like, I don't know where it's going to take me, but I'm showing up every day and I feel like I've recaptured that part of me and that was skills, and I'm building on that. And as I'm doing that, I'm starting to love it again, right? I'm just like, and I'm starting to reconnect with that younger self. There's a reason I was an artist. I really wanted to be an artist. And I really wanted, like, I look at, like artists like Picasso, like they spent their whole life creating. He died at like 91, right? But he was a prodigy. And when he was a kid, like, and that's all he did. He Picasso wasn't just an artist. He was Picasso, right? And that was what he was. That's the very definition of what that, name is. And that's what I wanted. So, but again, life happened. I built stuff. I went in different directions for reasons. And, but I'm just rediscovering that, and I'm becoming a student again. So I'm rebuilding my craft differently. Back then I did a lot of what I kind of always pegged as expressionism and, symbolism, abstract work. Now it's realism, and, which I did some of that, right? But really the work I was selling and stuff was not. But now, like, I have a whole nother idea of where I'm going. Like, I'm a different person now and what I'm focused on. So I'm studying realism. I'm having a lot of fun with it. But I'm a student again. Like, I'm just enjoying that process. I'm not rushing it. I did just the other day. I was actually talking with one of my chat bots, even with art, just ideas, things that around style and around subject. And I will have conversations about that stuff. And I came up with this term while that's my thinking partner. That doesn't mean it does all the thinking. I do some of the thinking. And I was like, I feel like, so I just did this, I don't want to turn this into an art episode, but I did this because I'm going to talk about AI shortly. But I did this, actually, the tree behind me. And I spent a lot of time on that, hours on this tree. And then I kind of faltered a little bit because I don't know why. I've drawn lots of trees in my life, but I was struggling with the leaves. Like the trunk and the rest of the tree was great. I got it the way it was, like an old oak tree, and it just had all these. It's really cool. But I was frustrated with the leaves and what I was doing, and then I started experimenting, and then it just became a mess. But during this, there were certain points, though, like I was kind of not stressing about it, but I was. I don't know. It was just, I felt like I was kind of like stuck in this, because I wanted to finish this thing. But then after I decided to just be done. It's a study. It's good. I'm not selling this thing. It's just a study. I just took out a page from my sketchbook and just started sketching from my memory, not using any references. And I loved it. It was like this total freedom. Whatever I like you ever heard of stream of consciousness, like stream of pencil? And it was getting it all on there. And I love doing that. I've done that 1,000 times, but I love that. And I realized, that really connects to like that artist when I was 19, 20 years old. And I wanted to have freedom. I wanted to just express myself. I didn't want anyone telling me what to do. I wanted the freedom of creating and doing something impactful in the world. And I'm like, and this is kind of that, kind of like that, like the freedom of just like when you're doing a finished piece or whatever, there's a lot more to it. You got to think about everything. But this was like I'm just practicing. I'm practicing lines. I'm practicing, just different shapes and different. It could be shapes or it could be a subject, whatever. Just having fun with it, like doodling, like kind of like that. And I think this is fun. And then I'm like, these are my freedom pages, where I'm just free to create. There's no thought about this becoming anything other than just having fun and honing my skills and just having a good time. And but I'm like, that's what I should do when I'm working on a larger piece or a piece that's more detailed or whatever, is that, take breaks, always those freedom pages should always be part of that. This is kind of what I'm working on, right? So Again, we're not going to turn this into an art lesson, but or story, totally. But that's I'm back. I'm a student again. I'm figuring this stuff out again in this new. I'm kind of relearning a lot of this stuff. You know, a lot of stuff falls out of your head over 30, 35 years. But I'm coming back to it, and I'm really enjoying it. I like where I'm at. I like where I'm going. I'm keeping it simple. I'm literally just in graphite this year. I did a little bit of watercolor, just a touch, but I set this goal. I'm just going to do pencil this year, and then I might go into charcoal a little bit, which I've done in the past, and then painting. But I don't know. Maybe I'm still doing graphite a year from now. I'm not going to rush it. I'm trying to master this thing. So anyway, yeah. So that's what I'm doing there. So this unexpected spark happens, right? And I'm building this new thing, and I'm excited about it. It's given me, like I can't wait every day until that block of time where I'm going to do art. I'm still enjoying the other stuff I'm doing. I'm building alongside that. The other thing, so now to completely pivot, besides this artist in me, I also am a tech guy. I like tech. I like programming, web development, that stuff. And I love AI more than I probably should. Some people don't think it's a good thing, but I like it, right? I'm having a lot of fun with it. And basically, I've been building this kind of external brain for myself. And I've even kind of coined it. It's probably coined by somebody else. I'm calling it my own private LifeOS, kind of a life operating system. But it's life, personal, and business. There's a business side and there's a personal side to it. So two things together. And it's a custom AI system, literally on my local desktop that I'm building through APIs and technical stuff. It's not on the cloud. It's using, I can use private models and something like that, but I basically use like ChatGPT, mostly, and Claude to help out with some things. And then other models to process different things, just depending, costs are a thing. But I built this I've spent almost a year now, that I started building this, just the rudimentary pieces. It was like last fall or something, and just kept building on it, and just really exciting. And so while I'm still running my agency, now I'm doing, well, actually I was doing AI stuff before the art, but I got excited about building this thing, and I just keep doing it. And sometimes I have to stop myself because I get so excited that's all I want to do sometimes. But yeah, it's amazing. It's helping me. And so I'm basically creating a thinking partner. The cloud apps, like even ChatGPT, have gotten really, really good. Their memory's gotten a lot better, even in just the last year. But this year they've gotten a lot better. They've implemented things that make them. Sometimes I'm just shocked. You don't have to. You can. Yeah, it's like sometimes in the past you'd have to find a chat to figure out what you were talking about there or whatever, or it would never come up again. Now you can start a new chat and it brings stuff up from the past or from the past day that you talked. I love that. It's cool. So, but locally I'm building out, basically it's something that I've kind of learned from some other people in AI and what they're doing and what they're building. But I really wanted to, the most important thing for me is capturing my life, my data, everything about me personally and in business, in a database. And that almost does nothing to do with AI, but it's it's designed to be consumed by AI. So capturing things in a way that that you can speak to, and the AI learns. It learns about your life, it learns about how you think, and it becomes a better thinking partner with richer content. There's a lot of technical stuff around that, but that's what I've been excited about. I've been really building this thing that allows me to reflect on my past, because I literally have built a timeline of my life in this database that everything's like kind of linked. So I can say, I've used this example before, like say like 1993. What was I doing in 1993? What was my life like? And it will create a narrative from all these different data points. Like the music I was listening to, it knows the music I was listening to, who I was living with. I had lots of roommates in the 90s. What girl I was dating. I had lots of girlfriends in the 90s. Or where I was working, what I was doing for art, all that stuff. I love it. It just, literally any point in my life, it has a pretty good understanding, he was listening to grunge music back then. But it does a way better job of telling the story of that. And that excites me, but also, so it's speaking to that, it's remembering, it's reflecting on those things. But it's also to help me with, kind of look for patterns in my life and help me try to understand why I am the way I am. It's hopeless. No, I'm just kidding. But also that's the same on the business side. So that's also I've been building that. Obviously that's really important because that's something that actually can translate into revenue short-term. I think the personal side is important because that actually I'm the one that needs to have his stuff together to be able to run the business. And actually the personal can influence business. And that is actually a relationship I have locally. But the business side, that it's one of the biggest innovations I've had this year is creating what I call a command center. And I'm still in shock that I built it. And I thank Claude for all the work it's done on it, because I couldn't have built it without Claude. And I've been building this whole thing with AI. Of course, I'm pretty much the architect and guiding it and testing it and correcting it. AI just doesn't build stuff perfect day one. And sometimes it does stuff. It's like, what did you do that for? Why? Oh, sorry. But that is so on the command center is literally something that I've iterated on, because this is one of the most important functions of that local LifeOS of mine. Is this command center is essentially, I go there every single morning. It's where I start out. I've been doing this for a long time now, months, where I got it to a place where there was a short period that I kind of fell off, but then why did I fall off? I asked that question, and I realized it was a UX problem for myself, which is interesting. I made it to all the components were there, but I was making it difficult for me to step through it every morning and get excited about that step through. And so I literally made it a walkthrough. I broke it. I had this big dashboard before. Now it's like I broke it up into these little steps, because the goal is in the morning is to basically create a plan for the day. So I basically have, whatever you want to call it, executive assistant. I don't know, but it's somebody that is going to plan my day, help me plan my day and tell me what's in my inbox or what's important. But not necessarily doing all that. Like I do, it creates habits for me, that things that I may have either skipped over or I dove back right into work that day and I didn't do that thing. Now I know I have to do it. So it's creating great habits for me, but so it starts out, there's 3 or 4 steps. So the first step is kind of a brain dump. It's literally a brain dump. So I had this innovation where I want to so the AI is going to process my day for me. So I need to tell the AI how I'm doing, what's on my mind. I literally will sit there for 10, 15 minutes and talk into my voice app on my Mac and record everything that's on my mind, what I know I'm doing today. And that could include personal stuff. I know I got to go run some errands, or I got to do this, I got to go to the bank, or or I have this meeting, or I have, this is the client I know I got to work on today, the project I know I got to work on. This is the problem we're solving. Whatever's on my mind, and that could be a wide range of things, and sometimes it's just random thoughts. That's a download of Matt's brain. And then I take that, I paste it into my local system. That's step one, along with some other metrics and things. And then, boom, process that. Go to second one is email. So I'm using API, so it's bringing this stuff down. So then the next step is ClickUp, and it brings down all of my tasks. I hit next, it processes that, and then I land on the generate step, and it takes all of that and generates it. Oh, it's also looking back. That's right. That was the other step. Calendar. So the calendar's in there, knows what's on my calendar. Then and what meetings I have, whatever. And then then generate, and it processes. I have a very specific format it comes out in, and with my top priorities, risks, like what is my risk today, that if I do this thing, it might hurt this other thing or whatever. And then kind of a short narrative. I iterated on that a lot too, just because it couldn't be too much, but it had to be enough for me to just at a glance, just a couple, like 1 minute, just know what my plan is and what my next step is for the day. And then I can chat. It's built into the chat where I can click a button and chat to my local AI about it. Now my local AI has, when I chat with it, it has even more data, right? It has HubSpot, all my CRM stuff. It has local data around that as well. It has actually all the ClickUp. I sync all the ClickUp docs. So all SOPs, all the stuff about my clients, everything is synced locally. So I can have conversations about stuff. That is how I start my day. It doesn't take long. 20 minutes, half hour every morning, and I'm through it and I'm on the road. That's what I've been building there. Now, I wasn't planning on doing this, like this is AI, it's on top of us. I had to do something, but this kind of like just grew, like just kept growing. I kept thinking, how could I improve literally my life? And how can I create something that's going to serve me and actually give me an advantage in my everyday? Like I never have to worry about because you always have, especially in a small business or whatever business, you might sometimes have all these data pieces, like the calendar over there, the tasks over there, and whatever, the email over there. It's like, oh, how can I? And that's not always in the same system, right? But even through using API, you can create dashboards and things of just what you want to see for you, designed for you, not for somebody, not another company telling you what you should have. So I love it. Not everyone would be able to do this kind of thing. Obviously, you can use systems. There's AI built into other systems, but this is so that's what I've been building. And really, this season for me, this year it's not really about any of those things, right? It's like, what does it really come down to? I got my business, I got my agency. Now art's a thing again. This AI system that I'm living inside now, technology, it's not really about the technology. It's not really about the art. For me, it's about building a better life. And at this age, like I don't need to slow down. I have lots of help. I have a team, and I have AI, and I'm leveraging that stuff so I can continue to build this life. And while I thought for a minute I arrived, like I realized, oh, there's so much more I can do. Let me leverage AI to help me do more. Let me go back to art and bringing something I enjoy and love and have a passion for and always wanted to be. you know, I want that young Matt to be proud of, you know, like if he saw me today, he'd be like, yes, thank you for not giving up art forever. I know you had to go do this other stuff, but thank you for coming back, because I know how important it was to him. But it's really about building a better life, and that's why the LifeOS is really, you know, yes, I'm building hopefully a better business, but also the personal side, you know, personal tasks, you know, that I actually do things that we want to do, you know, whether that's work on the house or, you know, some project or something we're doing in our real life. Capturing those things and making sure those things get done. So I have a partner in helping me manage all that as well. Because it's crazy when you think, if you're probably running a business, there's a lot. Right? You're not only just running a business, even if you have people helping you, there's usually a lot. And then you're trying to balance your personal life. You can't forget about that. That's a whole episode, right? You have to balance these things. You can't let your personal life, you know, you can't ignore it. You know, it's important. I got to make sure that I'm doing things for my wife as well, you know. And I don't always win at that, you know, like, she's like, Matt, did you do that thing yet? No, I'm going to get to it. Did you do it, you know, a couple weeks later? Did you do that? Can you do that for me? Yes, I'll do that soon. But if I have an AI system, that's just because, you know, like it's a lot to juggle in your head. Depending on the person, it doesn't even matter how good you are at it or even what systems you have. Systems can hold a lot, right? This is the problem. Like there's a lot of tasks I got to do every day, and I got to check my team's work and I got to do all this stuff, but I need a system that can maybe help speed up some of those things, but also just surface the things that I should be focused on next. So I don't have to be, because otherwise I'm sitting here, even with like, you can have a project management system, a task list, but what do you do next? What's the most valuable thing to do next? And don't forget about that. I have it baked into my system. Even when it creates that morning plan, I think every morning, my AI system would be like, and don't forget that art block, because that's really important. You don't want to be doing, you know, no one is just the guy that, you know, runs his business. You have a life. You have this other thing you want to do. Don't forget to do that. And I have it baked into it, you know, like just reminds me every day. So let me just give you an example of what this sounds like. And so this is an actual, I call it a signal. It doesn't matter what it's called. So it gives me the priority spine, the first domino, top three, one risk, safe to ignore. Okay, so that's really my framework. I should no. I have enough going on. Not going to create another business or a framework or, you know, do coaching or something. Okay, but it outputs this, and somewhere in the afternoon, protect the 30-minute Proco drawing block. The Proco is one of the courses I'm taking to brush up on my skills. But it's right in there. And it says, that is not indulgence today. It is maintenance for the part of you that keeps the whole machine human. I don't know. It says something like that profound every day. I should find another one. Let's see. Let's go. Let's see what Thursdays was. That was Fridays. Let's see if this one says anything. Protect the 30-minute art block if you can, and don't let the day become one long emergency. Sometimes there's a lot going on. I'll give you one more. This is fun. So this one was also protect the 30-minute art block if you can, even today, especially today. I just love that. So if you want to do something, you know, and you got an AI system that it's bringing in all this data, but it also knows what's important to you. Um, anyway, back to the episode. So I don't know what comes next. I don't know where this is all leading. But for the first time in a long time, like I really feel excited. Like I feel like I'm very present in what I'm doing, and that like I spent a long time building my businesses and several businesses and getting to this point where, okay, I got that, I got this piece done. And it's like, oh, now let's snap in this and this. And I feel very complete right now. Like I feel like I'm on the right path. And I feel like I have the right tool set now that is supporting me in what I'm doing, and that the sky's the limit. I don't know where it's going, but I'm excited to see, because I'm excited to see, let's say in 3 years, 5 years, if I keep showing up to this command center every day and it gets me doing the things that I need to be doing. I don't have to think about it. It just figures out and that's going to get just better over time, right? I mean, that's gotta, right? AI is just getting better and better. If it can make me more efficient and start doing more tasks for me, this is just the tip of the iceberg, what it can do and what it does for me. This is just one piece. But if I can keep building things like that, and also I keep showing up and doing art, and my art gets better and better, and I start to actually get myself to a point where I actually want to share more of my art and maybe start selling art again and building that part, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where how that's gonna go. So, like I said, I mean, it's like you keep building, like, this podcast is the builders, where I talk to so many builders, and sometimes, I talk to builders that are building the next thing. Like, what are you doing next? And someone's like, oh, we got this other product we're working on, or we're doing this thing. Some people, it's like, no, they've arrived. I just had this actually, this podcast, the episode that I just recorded will come out in a few weeks. But she was just like, no, they have a pretty successful business, and her and her husband run it. And like, no, we're just going to continue to scale this because they see so much potential. So they found their thing, and they're just going to scale it. They have a very unique selling position, unique thing they're offering this market. And that's fantastic. But sometimes it's like, that's still building. Like, that's building onto what you have and just building. Building can be many different things. But for me, it's like, it really does come back to building a better life, though. And I think at the end of the day, I think every single builder that's been on this podcast and is out there listening to this, that's right. I think that's all of our goals, or what, right? If you really boil it down, if you really sit back and you look at what you're doing, all the hours you're putting in and the hard work and the failures and the ups and downs and all that stuff, you're doing that because you want to build a better life for you, your family, and to have an impact in the world, whatever's important to you, and yeah. So if you're listening to this, and it doesn't matter what you could be 30, 35. I wish I was 30, 35. Yeah. Time is so strange. I'm going to digress. I'll come back to this. Time is so strange. I was actually just looking at, I had a sketchbook, and in the cover of the sketchbook, I said something along the lines of, the comeback is now, Matt, or never. And talking to myself, and just the corner of the sketchbook, and there are sketches throughout that book this is from 2001. This was 5 years after I actually rolled up all my canvases. I had like 100 canvases I rolled up. I was done with art, with trying to be that artist at the moment. This was 5 years later. And I felt like it was too late. I felt like this urgency, like I had, like if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. That was 25 years ago. I wish it was only 5 years. Now it's 30. But I'm here. I'm doing it again. I'm showing up. I'm doing art again. Time is like, you got so much time, even at 55. So like, whether you're 45, 55, 65, maybe it's not a matter of like pivoting to something else or reinventing yourself. Maybe it's not all about that. It's just about, maybe you just need to give yourself permission to keep building. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Builders Podcast. One more quick note about our sponsors. At Unified Web Design, we're passionate about doing better together, partnering with agencies and businesses to deliver exceptional web design, development, and ongoing support. And UnifiedLabs.ai is where we explore smart, practical ways to integrate AI directly into your website and e-commerce flows. From intelligent chatbots to marketing automation to back-end reporting, all with a strong focus on user experience and making your systems work smarter. If you haven't already, subscribe or follow to stay updated on future episodes. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, sharing it with someone who might benefit helps us grow this amazing community. Until next time, keep building smarter, bolder, and with purpose.